The International Association for Near-Death Studies presents NDE Radio, a weekly exploration of near-death experiences and similar encounters with the other side. Now, here's your host, Lee Witting.
Welcome to NDE Radio, brought to you by IANDS, the International Association for Near-Death Studies. I'm your host, Lee Witting. Our guest today, Rosemary Luke, is a nationally known liturgical artist who has restored religious art and church statuary across the United States, Canada, the island of Samoa, and in Africa. On October 7th, 2011, while recovering in the hospital, Rose was visited by an angel who brought visions and a dire warning for the world. The angel told her, "I bring you a message. Tell them it is almost time." Today, our world pandemic makes this a more urgent message than ever. Rose is the author of the book, I See an Angel. Rosemary Luke, welcome to NDE Radio.
Oh, thank you, Lee. I'm so pleased to have the opportunity to share with you and your listeners my glorious encounter with this angel.
Well, that's great. In a previous conversation, you told me as a child raised with a Catholic education, you'd always had an awareness of the existence of guardian angels. And I think you told me as a child you even saved a seat next to you as a place for your guardian angel to sit.
Yes.
But this angel, the angel you saw in the hospital, was something very different. So tell us, please, what you saw.
Okay, well, yes, this was completely different. When we were in third grade in Catholic school, we were always taught, to move over a little bit for our guardian angel. We were being taught about our guardian angels. But that was something in faith that we were being taught. What I saw in the hospital was real. It was October 7th, 2011, and I was in the hospital to have a cervical fusion in my neck. I was taken up to the holding area very early. Mm-hmm. And you know how if you've ever had surgery and you're in a holding area, you wait and you wait. And I started praying my normal prayers and talking to God. And I felt this unusual closeness to God, more so than ever before. And when they finally took me in to have the surgery, when I came out of surgery and I'm laying there, barely waking up, I felt I was still saying my same prayers. I was still talking to God. And when I realized that this bright light was on my face, I actually wondered if I was still in the operating room. And when I opened my eyes, this bright golden light was filled the room. And everyone there, it just surrounded everyone. It was the most gorgeous golden light I have ever seen in my life. I mean, nothing would compare to it. And straight ahead was this angel.
I was going to say, were there other people in the room?
Yes. I wasn't aware until afterwards that there were more people in the room than the one nurse. The minute I saw the angel, I said, I see an angel, hence the name of the book. And the nurse said to me, "What did you say, honey?" And I said, "I see an angel." And she said, "You do? Where?" And I said, "She's right there. She's standing right there." And I thought everyone could see her. I thought the nurse could see her. And the angel stood in front of me with the most amazing smile on her face. Her eyes sparkled like diamonds. There's no way I could express to you the overwhelming beauty that was in front of me. It was absolutely fabulous. And
was this angel? Did the angel have the classic appearance with wings and And so,
it's really funny, Lee. I looked for those wings. I really did. And being an artist, I down through the years, the millennium, really, centuries, we always see pictures of angels with these gorgeous wings. And I think it was because the artists in those days depicted an angel. They thought, well, surely they need wings to get anywhere, I guess. When, of course, we know that is another dimension that angels reside in God's realm, and they don't need angels. They don't need, wings to get anywhere. So I didn't see any wings, no. But the bright light that surrounded the room and was in the room, and behind the angel there was more of a pulsating light behind her. And I wondered afterwards if that had something to do. Maybe the wings were behind her and the light was so bright I just didn't see them. Perhaps that's possible, but no, I didn't see any wings.
Or maybe it indicated a tunnel to the other dimension, the spiritual dimension.
Yes, that's very possible, and I have thought about that too.
Now you said
there was a distinct difference I felt when I looked at her and the surrounding space around her, that there was definitely a distinctive difference between where I was and where she was.
And you say she. A lot of people think of angels in the masculine, but you felt that there was a very feminine quality to this angel. Yes.
The way she looked at me, there was so much love and compassion. Not that a male angel or, a more masculine angel would not have those attributes. I don't know, immediately I felt she was feminine, definitely.
And you said you thought she was clothed in a purple-colored garment.
Yes. Well, I painted the cover of the book. I didn't intend to paint the cover of the book, but it turned out that way because as we went on trying to discover what would be the best thing for the cover, I realized that since I was the only one that really saw her, I wanted to bring to the public the best I possibly could what she looked like. I felt it was important to not only just talk about seeing an angel, but to actually have an opportunity to have people see what she really looked like. I wish, if I could be, Leonardo da Vinci, perhaps it was so hard to capture the essence of her. Yes. I don't think it would be possible for anyone to really do that.
Was there the golden light, was it all around her as well?
Yes, it was all around her. It was behind her. It just filled the entire room to the point where I forgot where I was, basically.
Yes.
I wasn't even thinking where I was. The only thing that was important to me at the time was my conversation with her. I asked her, "Did you come to take me?" And she said, "No." And
I think you said that you had the feeling that she knew everything about you.
Yes, she did. She did. I really felt, how can I explain this? I felt like I knew her, that she knew me, yet she didn't look familiar. But I was so comfortable with her. This sweetness and this loving compassion that came from her was so overwhelming that you just wanted to, if I could have gotten off the bed and gone to her and put my arms around her, I would have. Yet
Yes.
people have asked me, was it your guardian angel? And I don't feel it was. This was a special angel sent from God with a message, a dire message, a profound message.
Yes, and this
that
warning
we need to really pay attention.
That you're going to tell us about was not blaming you, but it was asking you to help convey this message to the world.
Well, yes. I think the light, the golden light around her, was God's love. And I knew instantly, before she asked me, before she gave me the message, I want to say that I knew instantly that what we ever believed in faith alone is all true. Because what would be the point of her standing in front of me to begin with? Besides the message, the fact that she was there was such a profound message to me personally. And the other thing, Lee, that I wanted to say is that I knew instantly that I had been forgiven. And I do believe that God forgives and forgets our sins if we are truly contrite and we're sorry for our sins. I do believe that those sins disappear. But the closer you get to God, the worse it hurts that you have offended him.
Oh. You said the angel, at one point in your book, I think, you said the angel was drawing me into another realm.
Yes. Well,
what did you mean by that?
Again, I think she did immediately draw me to her when we were having these conversations. The only thing I heard her say, the way we're talking now, is when I asked her if she'd come to take me, she said no. Very, very precisely, no. But the next thing I heard her say was, I bring you a message. Tell them it is almost time. After that, all the conversations with the angel were done mentally. I didn't hear her speak anything anymore. It was like it just wasn't necessary.
Yes. Well, you say in the book, what the angel revealed to me will happen sometime in the future, and it's for me to endure knowledge of a world in horror, which is a pretty scary thought. Tell us about what she conveyed to you, mentally, I guess is the best way to put it.
While we had this mental conversation that seemed to go on forever, and the amazing part about it, Lee, is the fact that she probably was there only briefly, which only proves to me that God's time is not the same as ours, because this conversation was really lengthy. She went into so many things of how we have offended God. She talked about abortion a great deal, and she brought it up more than once. Mm-hmm. She wanted to really impress upon me the abortion issue. And I think we have overwhelmed God's patience with us, really. He loves us so dearly. I know he doesn't. We are his greatest creation. He immensely loves us so much. He doesn't want to see us fail. But I think that he's trying so hard to get our attention, and we're just not listening. Mm. And then when she started to show me pictures, like in a photo album, it seemed like.
Yes.
And they were of a world without the love of God. was a very dark, desolate place. It was unlike anything you could possibly imagine. Nothing that anybody has made up in movies or books. It was nothing like that, and I really have a hard time, and I really don't like to talk about it very much, to tell you the truth. It's just something I can't describe to you fully. But I know that if we continue on the path that we've all chosen, because God gave us free will, these are things that could come to pass. And I think this pandemic right now is a prime example of God trying to get our attention.
Yes.
We're not kind to one another anymore, Lee. And people are striving for greed and power and what more they can have in this world. And they've pushed God right out of their life.
You write in your book...
Until we bring God back in our life.
Yeah, you write in your book, if the leaders of this world are not careful, we will all face disaster on a major scale. What sort of disasters? Were these like environmental disasters, or were they scenes of war?
I think so. It's my belief, Lee, that it's not wars that's going to do us in. It isn't wars. We're going to do ourselves in with our own choices. As you say, with the environmental, I don't know, we just don't seem to care an awful lot about too much of anything anymore.
No.
We need to have God in our life. And too many people feel they can go through their life without God.
You had mentioned, I think, you had a vision of a world where there were no children at all. And it reminded me of a film that's titled Children of Men, with a very frightening scenario. Where suddenly people realize how precious children are. But, of course, without children, that's the end of the human race, isn't it?
Well, I've never seen that or heard about it, but I will say I did feel this dark, desolate picture of a world that I saw. I did feel that the children were gone, that we've finally done away with them. The millions and millions of children that are being aborted every day right now, we're getting rid of them right now.
Yeah, and starvation and
everything.
Abuse.
Everything. I mean, children on the street in Brazil sold for body parts when someone needs a new liver. The atrocities that are going on in this world, I can't even imagine how God can stand it. I don't know how He can possibly love us that much that He would keep forgiving and forgiving these atrocities without some retribution. We're going to have to answer for these things, either now or sometime.
Yeah.
When we face God, when it's time to go, our time to leave this earth, we're all going to answer for the abortion issue, even if we had nothing to do with it. Because what are we doing to stop it?
Now,
I can't believe that Christians in this country believe that it's all right to do away with babies like that, right up until they're born.
Yeah.
And the governor, I looked that up for you, Lee. The governor in our own state did sign a bill for that. I looked that
Rose,
up.
You say evil is on a rampage to destroy humanity, and hell is separation from God. I think I got those from your book. Do you think evil is a separate force? Do you think there are demons, agents of evil like that, or is it just the fact that we have separated ourselves from God that makes us ourselves evil?
Well, I believe that you can't have good without evil, first of all.
Ah.
And if we believe in the Bible, what he tells us about what happened in heaven with St. Michael and Lucifer, I do believe that evil is so angry with God that evil is trying to do everything possible to destroy us. And the sad part about it, Lee, is we're allowing it to happen right before our eyes. With our decisions and our choices, we are feeding into the fact that it's okay. There is no sin anymore. Everybody justifies the bad things that they do. There's a justification for everything anymore. People really do not believe in sin. And that's what evil is. If you do anything to offend God, that you couldn't stand in front of God right now, and God would be proud of what you're doing, that is a sin. And that's evil.
You had mentioned to me that you thought there was a reason that Angel was clothed in purple, because it was happening that Lent, the time of Lent, which is a time of should be a time of mourning and asking for forgiveness and so forth. This was when our COVID-19, our pandemic was happening to us. Talk about that a little bit.
That came to light just a couple of months ago. I have been praying on this, Lee, as to why she was in purple. Little did I know when I was writing this book years ago that this pandemic would peak during Lent, and all of the churches would close. We weren't allowed to mingle among each other. We had to be separated. And it just dawned on me. I always thought the purple had something to do with the Passion. But when Lent took place this year, in prayer, I know I'm right. I had no idea after all these years that would be the meaning, but I'm positive that's what it is. Because this pandemic struck us down during this time. And people need to call on God. They need to call on His love and His forgiveness and His mercy. You can't be afraid, even if it's been all your life. So many people feel they've done things in their life that they can't be forgiven for. And that's not the type of God that I know. God is a very loving, forgiving God. He will forgive any sin if you're sorry for it. And I think, a time of Lent, I always felt, was a time of renewal, a time to get back to, things that are important in our life. And I'll tell you, God is the most important thing in our life. That's why we're here. We're here to help others and to be good people. And the other thing is, Lee, we need to evangelize. All of us are called to help people, to bring people to God. Because when they die, where do they think they're going? Our Creator created the most magnificent world. And we as a people have to show God that we appreciate that world. And we appreciate our life.
It's a Catholic tradition, isn't it, to to cover the statuary and the crucifix with purple cloth. Is it during Holy Week? It's some part of the Lenten tradition.
Yes, and more churches are getting back to that. They got away from a lot of traditions over the years, and we're seeing those traditions come back now, which I'm very happy about because we really need those traditions in our life.
Well, that cloth that cuts off the view. Now I know you do art restoration and statuary restoration, so you know how close somebody can be drawn to the spiritual by praying in front of a statue or praying in front of the crucifix, for example. So when that purple cloth is laid over it, it cuts us off from that image, from that understanding. It separates us. It's a physical manifestation of the separation from God, which I thought was really what this whole this COVID-19, this pandemic is doing. It's cutting us off from one another, and of course we're when 2 or 3 are gathered in His name, that's
there I am.
That's where Jesus is, and we're separated even from that.
Well, it's covered during Holy Week because it is a sorrowful time when Jesus was beaten horribly. The 5,000 wounds on His body, crowned with thorns, dragged through the streets, nailed to a cross. I mean, the Romans were so cruel. They were a cruel people. They really were. It's a time, it's during that week that we're dwelling on how He died for us. He died for our sins. That whole thing took place so we could go to heaven, so sins could be forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
And then Easter is a joyous time when everything is uncovered, and it's more or less we start all over again, The calendar year, the Catholic calendar year, just kind of starts all over again. And
so it's a time of rebirth.
It just brings to mind, what we should be thinking about, how God suffered for us.
Spring renewal. You write, what the world needs is for everyone to be accountable.
Yes.
And I thought that was a very good way to put it. We all have to be accountable to one another as well as to God. And that's that could change things overnight if we could learn that lesson.
Oh, 100%. If we would only start being accountable for our actions, it would help everyone we meet. We would automatically strive to be better if we felt we needed to be accountable. Not to, people say to me, they don't believe that, if you don't go to church on Sunday. I mean, it's my Catholic faith. It's a sin. It's a mortal sin. And I believe in the reconciliation of sin. We need to be accountable in some way as Christians, not just Catholics. All Christians. If you stand in front of me and say you're a Christian, you automatically should be accountable for what you do.
And in fact, practically all religions teach the same thing.
Sure.
It's even bigger than Christianity. Although I think in the end, being a Christian myself,
sure.
I see Jesus being the engineer behind all of this. But I think everyone with a good heart is acceptable to God.
Exactly. I think God looks into our hearts, and there He sees the truth.
Well, He knows us the way that angel knew you.
Exactly, Lee.
Yeah.
When she looked at me, she knew already what was in my heart and how I would react and what I would do afterwards. She knew that.
Well, she chose a very good witness to the truth, and I thank you for coming on the show. Rose, we're pretty much out of time for today, but I want to take a minute for you to tell the folks where they can find your book, I See an Angel, and also your website where your artwork is I guess on display. I haven't really explored it myself yet.
That would be wonderful. Sure, I'd be happy to. The book is now available, actually, all over the world. But here in the United States, you can go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble and type in my name, capital R-O-S-E, capital M-A-R-Y, capital L-U-K-E, or the name of the book, I See an Angel. And my website for statue restoration is www.catholicstatuary.com.
Very good. Rose, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're welcome. I'm thrilled to have this opportunity to share my experience, and I'm happy to speak with anyone, really. My goal now, my mission now, is to help everybody I can in any way I can.
Terrific. Well, I think you've helped our listeners a great deal by being on the show today. To the audience, let me remind all of you telephone chaplains out there, I've dubbed you all chaplains, don't forget to keep using your phone or social media, Facebook or whatever, to check in on those folks who you think might benefit from having someone to talk to in this time of separation. And if they'd like to learn more about near-death experience, recommend our new IANDS NDE radio app to them. There are some 350 past shows they can listen to. So they can just go to the App Store or Google Play to download that for free. Please, everyone, stay distant, but stay well, and stay well. And until next Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern, this is Lee Witting saying thanks for listening.